My child, pause and breathe before you continue. This message is not here to command you, frighten you, or pressure your spirit. Heaven does not operate through fear. It operates through clarity, timing, and consent of the heart. I speak now because your soul has been sensing something unresolved, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly. A gentle awareness. A feeling that a chapter connected to your family line was never fully understood. This is not about doom. This is about understanding. Someone connected to your bloodline, who has already passed on, carries a truth that was never spoken clearly while they were here. Not because they wished to hide it, but because circumstances, fear, or timing prevented it from being expressed. That truth is not chasing you. It is waiting for you to be calm enough to receive it. You may have noticed subtle signs over time, memories resurfacing without explanation, emotions arising without a clear source, questions about the past returning when you thought they were settled. These are not threats. They are invitations to reflect, not to panic. Hear this carefully: nothing will vanish if you do not act immediately. No door is being slammed shut. No voice is being taken away from you. Heaven does not punish silence with loss. What is being offered is an opportunity for insight, one that unfolds only when you are grounded, not rushed. Truth that arrives through pressure arrives distorted. Truth that arrives through stillness arrives intact. You are not being told to keep secrets. You are being encouraged to use discernment. Not every realization needs an audience. Some understanding is meant to settle within you first, so it can bring peace instead of confusion. Wisdom grows in quiet, not in urgency. If this message resonates, do not react outwardly. Sit with it inwardly. Pay attention to what surfaces naturally, thoughts, memories, feelings, without forcing meaning onto them. Reflection opens understanding far more reliably than fear ever could. No one is begging. No one is trapped. No heaven is closing its gates. What is meant to be understood will reach you when your heart is steady enough to hold it without distress. This is not a final warning. This is not a command. This is a moment of awareness. Move gently. Reflect honestly. And trust that truth reveals itself in ways that protect your peace, not threaten it. I am here to guard your clarity, not to rush your spirit. When you are ready, understanding will meet you calmly. My child, now that the urgency has been quieted, understanding can speak clearly. The truth connected to your family line is not hidden behind fear, it is hidden behind silence. Not the silence of secrecy, but the silence of things that were never given space to be said. Many before you carried emotions, decisions, or sacrifices they believed would protect others by remaining unspoken. This is the weight you have been sensing. What seeks acknowledgement is not a shocking revelation or a dangerous secret. It is understanding. Context. Compassion for choices made under pressure, limitation, or misunderstanding. Some truths do not change the past, but they soften it. And that softening is what brings peace to both sides of the veil. You are not being chosen because you are special in power. You are being approached because you are steady in spirit. You have the ability to hold complexity without panic, to look at the past without collapsing into it. That is why insight comes to you quietly instead of dramatically. This understanding will not arrive as a voice shouting from beyond. It will come through remembrance, through sudden clarity about family dynamics, through realizing why certain patterns existed and why they ended with you. You may suddenly understand why someone acted the way they did, why a family conflict never truly resolved, why a burden seemed to pass down until it reached you. This is not to place responsibility on you. It is to release it from you. When understanding arrives, do not rush to name it, explain it, or share it. Let it settle first. Truth that is integrated brings peace. Truth that is announced too quickly brings confusion. No one is asking you to carry messages. No one is asking you to fix the past. No one is asking you to keep secrets out of fear. What is being offered is closure through clarity. The moment you understand without resentment, the weight lifts, for you and for the memory of those who came before. That is how healing moves through generations, not through drama, but through comprehension. You are safe. You are guided. And nothing is being forced upon you. Let insight come naturally. Let memory soften. Let peace do its quiet work. This is not about opening a door quickly. It is about recognizing that the door was never locked, only waiting for you to approach it without fear. My child, now understand this carefully, because this part removes the last trace of fear. The truth connected to your family is not something you must search for. It is something that reveals itself naturally when you stop resisting what you already sense. Many people believe hidden truths arrive dramatically, but the most important ones arrive as recognition. A moment where things suddenly make sense. You may find yourself looking at an old memory differently. A situation that once felt confusing may suddenly feel clear. A decision made by someone who has passed may no longer feel cruel, cold, or mysterious, only human. This is how the truth is revealed, not to shock you, not to burden you, but to complete something unfinished. Nothing is demanding that you act. Nothing is asking you to speak. Nothing is urging you to confront anyone. Understanding alone is enough. When comprehension replaces confusion, the past loosens its grip. Patterns that once repeated quietly lose their reason to continue. This is why the awareness is coming now, because you are no longer living inside the old pattern. You are not responsible for carrying pain forward. You are not responsible for correcting history. You are not responsible for explaining anyone's choices. You are only invited to see clearly. And once you do, something subtle but powerful happens. The emotional weight dissolves without effort. That is the release they were never able to reach while living. Not through words. Not through confession. But through understanding. If nothing obvious comes immediately, do not worry. Truth does not expire. It does not punish delay. It meets you when your mind is quiet and your heart is grounded. No voice will vanish. No opportunity will be lost. No door will be closed. Heaven does not work in ultimatums. It works in timing. Remain calm. Remain observant. Remain open, but not anxious. What is meant to be understood will surface in a way that feels steady, not overwhelming. And when it does, you will know, not because you were warned, but because it finally feels complete. This is not a message of urgency. It is a message of peace. And peace is how truth always arrives when it is safe to receive it. My child, this is where understanding becomes freedom. What you are touching now is not just a memory, it is a pattern. Something that quietly moved through your family line for a long time. Not because anyone wanted it to, but because unresolved emotions tend to travel until they are finally seen without judgment. You are not here to carry it forward. You are here where it gently ends. The reason this awareness comes to you is simple: you no longer react the way others did. Where there was once silence fueled by fear, you bring awareness. Where there was once confusion, you bring clarity. That alone is enough to stop repetition. You may notice that situations in your life feel different from those who came before you. You question what they accepted. You feel when something is emotionally misaligned. You pause instead of repeating. That is not coincidence, that is growth. Nothing is being revealed to trap you. Everything is being revealed to release you. When you see the full picture, you will understand that no one was entirely wrong, and no one was entirely right. Most were simply navigating with limited understanding, doing what they believed would protect, preserve, or survive. This is the compassion that ends cycles. And here is the important truth: you do not need to confront anyone. You do not need to expose anything. You do not need to prove what you understand. Healing does not require witnesses. It requires honesty within yourself. Once you see the pattern clearly, it loses power. It cannot follow you forward because it no longer lives in unconsciousness. Awareness dissolves what force never could. This is why your spirit feels lighter even as you reflect. This is why fear no longer fits. This is why urgency fades. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where understanding can finally land safely. Let this part settle. Let insight rest quietly. Let peace confirm what you already feel. This is not a burden placed on you. This is a cycle gently closing, because you were calm enough to see it clearly. My child, now comes the softest part of this journey. When truth settles gently, it brings a choice, not a demand. The choice is whether to hold what you now understand with bitterness, or with release. And release does not mean approval. It means you no longer allow the past to sit inside your present. This is where many people struggle. They believe letting go excuses what happened. It does not. It simply frees you from carrying what was never yours to hold. Those who came before you did the best they could with the awareness they had at the time. Some avoided speaking because they feared conflict. Some chose silence because they believed it would protect others. Some never found the words for emotions they barely understood themselves. Understanding this does not rewrite history. It removes its emotional weight. You may feel a quiet grief, not sharp, not overwhelming, just a gentle sadness for what was missed, unsaid, or misunderstood. Let that feeling pass through you. It is not here to stay. It is here to complete something unfinished. Nothing is asking you to forgive prematurely. Nothing is asking you to forget. Nothing is asking you to minimize your own experience. You are only being invited to stop carrying what does not belong to your future. As you release resentment, something shifts. Your energy becomes lighter. Your reactions soften. You begin responding instead of reliving. This is how freedom looks, not dramatic, but steady. And understand this clearly: you are not responsible for healing everyone. Your clarity alone is enough. What you release within yourself loosens its grip on the entire lineage. That is how healing works, quietly, invisibly, without announcements. Take your time with this part. There is no rush. There is no expectation. Peace arrives when you stop arguing with what already happened and start choosing what happens next. You are allowed to move forward unburdened. You are allowed to live differently. You are allowed to be free. This is not forgetting the past. This is finally setting it down. My child, this is where your path turns fully toward the present. Once release begins, life no longer asks you to look backward for answers. It begins asking you to live differently. Not in reaction to what happened before, but in alignment with what you now understand. You may notice subtle changes. You protect your peace more intentionally. You stop explaining yourself where you once felt obligated. You choose honesty over silence. Even when it feels uncomfortable, you walk away from emotional weight sooner than before. These are not acts of rebellion. They are acts of maturity. You are no longer living to repair what was broken before you. You are living to build what never existed: clarity, safety, emotional truth. This is how cycles end, not with confrontation, but with conscious choice. There is nothing you must announce to your family. There is nothing you must prove. There is nothing you must reopen. Your life itself becomes the closure. And here is what brings deep peace: the past does not follow those who stop carrying it. You may still remember. You may still feel compassion. But you will no longer feel bound. This is the sign that healing has taken root. You were never meant to inherit pain. You were meant to understand it, so you could walk forward without repeating it. And now, you are doing exactly that. Move gently. Move honestly. Move free of urgency. Nothing is chasing you. Nothing is demanding your attention. Nothing is waiting to be exposed. All that is happening is alignment. You are choosing awareness over reaction. Peace over pressure. Truth over fear. And this choice, quiet, steady, unseen, is enough to change everything that comes next. This is not the end of a message. It is the beginning of a lighter way of living. My child, now notice how calm has replaced urgency. That is not emptiness, it is stability. When the past no longer pulls at you, life begins to feel quieter. Not dull, not disconnected, just steady. Many mistake this calm for loss, but it is actually freedom. Chaos was never proof of meaning. Pain was never proof of depth. You are learning to live without emotional tension as your compass. Where others may still react from old wounds, you pause. Where others repeat familiar conflicts, you choose distance or honesty. Where others feel compelled to explain themselves, you allow silence to speak. This is not coldness. This is self-respect. And understand this clearly, you are not becoming distant, you are becoming rooted. Rooted people do not sway with every emotional storm. They do not need approval to remain whole. You may notice that some relationships shift as you change. This is natural. Not everyone knows how to relate to someone who no longer carries guilt, fear, or obligation. Do not interpret this as loss. It is simply alignment correcting itself. You are not abandoning anyone. You are no longer abandoning yourself. This is the quiet reward of awareness. Life begins to respond differently, not because you demand it to, but because your energy no longer invites what once drained you. There is nothing more you need to uncover. Nothing more you need to analyze. Nothing more you need to carry. What mattered has already been understood. Now, live. Choose what feels steady. Choose what feels honest. Choose what allows you to breathe. You are not responsible for the past's unfinished stories. You are responsible only for how peacefully you walk forward. And you are doing that now, with clarity, with balance, and without fear. This is how freedom looks when it finally feels safe. My child, now you learn to trust what is calm instead of questioning it. For a long time, your nervous system may have mistaken tension for familiarity. Silence felt unfamiliar. Peace felt temporary. But now, the quiet you feel is not absence, it is alignment. It is your inner world finally matching your growth. Nothing dramatic needs to happen next. Nothing extraordinary needs to appear. Life does not need to prove anything to you. Stability is the sign. You may notice that you are less drawn to emotional intensity, to stories filled with urgency, to people who thrive on confusion. This does not mean you care less, it means you understand more. You no longer confuse emotional chaos with connection. This is discernment. You are learning when to engage and when to step back. When to speak and when silence protects your energy better than words ever could. These are not walls, you are simply choosing doors wisely now. And here is an important truth, you do not need to constantly reflect on the past to honor it. What you have understood is already integrated. Revisiting it repeatedly will not deepen it, it will only reopen what has already healed. Trust yourself enough to move forward without looking back for confirmation. Peace does not announce itself. It settles in quietly. If at times you feel almost normal, steady, grounded, untroubled, do not search for what is missing. Nothing is missing. This is what life feels like when you are no longer carrying what was never yours. Let this calm become familiar. Let ease replace vigilance. Let trust replace waiting. You are not in between chapters anymore. You are living in the one that finally belongs to you. And this time, nothing needs to be unlocked. Nothing needs to be revealed. Nothing needs to be rushed. You already have what you need: clarity, balance, and a peace that does not depend on understanding everything. This is not emptiness. This is arrival. My child, now something subtle but powerful becomes clear. You are no longer searching for validation, internally or externally. When truth has settled properly, it creates grounding. You stop looking to others to confirm what you already feel. You stop replaying moments, wondering if you misunderstood. You stop second-guessing your own clarity. This is self-trust taking root. You may notice that your decisions feel quieter now. There is less inner debate, less emotional noise. You choose what feels right without needing to justify it to yourself or anyone else. That is not detachment, it is confidence without arrogance. And with this grounding comes a new boundary: you no longer absorb what others project. If someone carries unresolved pain, you can see it without taking it on. If someone misunderstands you, you no longer rush to correct them. If someone expects you to play an old role, you simply don't. This is how freedom stabilizes. You are not here to convince anyone of your growth. Growth speaks for itself through consistency, not explanation. The calmer you become, the less you need to announce who you are. Understand this clearly: you have not lost sensitivity. You have gained discernment. You still feel deeply, but you no longer let feelings control your direction. You allow them to pass through, not take residence. This is emotional maturity, and it is rare. From this place, your future begins to form differently. Choices align more easily. Conflicts lose intensity. Life stops feeling like something you must manage and starts feeling like something you can inhabit. Stand here. Do not rush forward. Do not look back. This is solid ground. You are not waiting for permission. You are not waiting for answers. You are not waiting for anything to be revealed. You are simply living from clarity now, and clarity does not shake. This is who you are becoming when the past finally releases its hold. My child, this is the moment where you realize something important: you are no longer living in response to anything behind you. There is no pull. No echo. No unfinished conversation tugging at your spirit. What once shaped you no longer directs you. You may notice that your future feels open in a new way, not overwhelming, not demanding, just available. You are no longer choosing from fear, obligation, or inherited expectations. You are choosing from alignment. This is quiet power. You no longer ask, "Will this upset someone?" You ask, "Is this honest to who I am now?" And when the answer is yes, you move, without guilt. This does not make you selfish. It makes you responsible for your own life. Some people will sense this change and not know how to respond. They may feel you have changed without understanding that you have simply stopped carrying what distorted you. Let them adjust in their own time. Your growth does not require their approval. You are not abandoning your roots. You are standing on them, firm enough to grow upward instead of backward. From here on, life will meet you differently. Not because circumstances magically change, but because you are no longer negotiating your worth, your boundaries, or your peace. This is what maturity feels like: calm choices, steady movement, no need to explain your direction. You are no longer healing. You are living. And living does not ask you to keep checking the past to see if it is following you. The past stays where it belongs when you stop turning around. Walk forward. Stay present. Trust the steadiness you feel. Nothing is missing. Nothing is chasing you. Nothing is waiting to be revealed. You are simply continuing, lighter, clearer, and finally unburdened. This is the freedom that remains when everything unnecessary has fallen away. My child, now you arrive at a place many never reach. You stop trying to control what comes next. There is a deep shift here. You no longer feel the need to prepare for disappointment or guard against old patterns returning. You understand now that awareness has changed you permanently. What you see clearly cannot quietly take hold again. This brings a rare kind of peace, one that does not depend on certainty. You begin to let life approach you instead of chasing outcomes. You listen more. You respond instead of react. You allow things to unfold without forcing meaning onto every moment. This is not passivity. It is trust grounded in experience. You know who you are. You know what you will not accept. You know when to step forward and when to step back. That knowledge stays with you. From this place, connections become simpler. Opportunities feel less heavy. Even challenges arrive without the same emotional charge, because you are no longer interpreting them through old wounds. You meet life as it is, not as something that must be fixed, proven, or survived. And notice this, joy becomes quieter too. Not explosive, not fleeting, but steady. A sense of being okay even when nothing extraordinary is happening. This is contentment, and it is far deeper than excitement. You are not waiting for a sign. You are not expecting a revelation. You are not bracing for loss. You are present. And presence is where life finally meets you honestly. Stay here. Let this steadiness become familiar. Let yourself trust that you are capable of handling whatever comes, not because you know the outcome, but because you know yourself. This is not the end of a journey. It is the place where the journey no longer needs to be named. You are simply living now, awake, grounded, and at peace with your own clarity. My child, this is where you understand something quietly profound. Not everything needs an ending to feel complete. For a long time, you may have believed that peace arrives only after explanations, apologies, or final conversations. But now you see, wholeness can exist even when some questions remain unanswered. Understanding does not always require closure. Sometimes it simply requires acceptance. You are no longer waiting for anyone to acknowledge what you now know. You are no longer hoping for validation from the past. You are no longer organizing your life around what should have happened. This is emotional freedom. The space that once held tension now holds possibility. You feel more available to new ideas, new connections, new ways of being, because your inner world is no longer occupied by unfinished business. And here is the truth that settles gently now: you do not owe your peace to anyone else's awareness. What you understand is enough. What you feel is valid. What you choose going forward is yours. You are not detached from love. You are no longer attached to pain. This balance allows you to move through life with openness instead of armor. You can care deeply without losing yourself. You can remember without reliving. You can honor the past without standing inside it. Nothing more needs to be resolved. Nothing needs to be explained again. Nothing needs to be revisited unless you choose it. You are complete in this moment, not because everything was perfect, but because you are no longer fragmented by it. Let this completeness be simple. Let it be quiet. Let it be real. You have arrived at a place where peace does not depend on outcomes, only on honesty within yourself. And that is enough. My child, now the final shift becomes clear: you trust yourself as your own point of reference. You are no longer measuring your life against expectations you inherited. You are no longer asking who you are supposed to be. You act from an inner authority that does not need permission, reassurance, or explanation. This is not defiance. This is alignment. Your choices come from a place that feels settled. You notice what resonates and what does not, and you honor that without debate. When something feels wrong, you step away without drama. When something feels right, you move toward it without fear. This is how integrity feels inside the body. You may notice that your intuition is clearer now, not louder, just more accurate. It does not shout. It does not rush you. It simply informs you, calmly and consistently. And you listen, because experience has taught you that this inner voice is trustworthy. From here on, your life becomes simpler. Not easier in every way, but clearer. You invest energy where it is returned. You give time where it is respected. You stay where there is truth. You leave where there is distortion. No resentment follows you. No guilt tugs at you. No unfinished weight trails behind. You are not proving growth. You are living it. And this is the quiet truth: when you live from inner authority, the world adjusts around you. Situations align or fall away naturally. You do not need to force outcomes. Clarity does the work for you. This is not an ending. It is a stable beginning. You are grounded. You are present. You are self-led. And from this place, whatever comes next will meet you honestly, because you are finally meeting yourself without fear. Remain here. Move forward gently. Trust what you know. This is what it feels like when your life is finally yours. My child, now you recognize something deeply reassuring: your peace no longer feels fragile. There was a time when calm felt temporary, as if it could be taken away by one conversation, one memory, one unexpected moment. That is no longer true. What you carry now is not situational peace, it is internal stability. You no longer guard yourself constantly. You no longer anticipate disruption. You no longer brace for emotional impact. This is because nothing unresolved is hiding beneath the surface. You have met yourself honestly. And honesty creates resilience. If life brings challenge, you meet it directly. If uncertainty appears, you do not panic. If change arrives, you adjust without losing your center. This does not mean life is predictable, it means you are steady. You have learned that peace is not something to defend, it is something that exists when you are no longer at war with yourself. And now, there is no inner conflict demanding attention. Your boundaries feel natural, not rigid. Your compassion feels balanced, not draining. Your silence feels intentional, not fearful. This is emotional sovereignty. You are not avoiding the world. You are engaging it from a place of choice. And here is the quiet confirmation: nothing from the past can destabilize you now, not because it disappeared, but because it no longer defines you. You stand present. You stand whole. You stand unburdened. Let this peace remain simple. Let it move with you. Let it be enough. There is nothing left to uncover. Nothing left to resolve. Nothing left to carry forward. This is not distance. This is stability. And from here, whatever unfolds will meet a self who is grounded, clear, and fully here. This is where strength rests when it no longer needs to prove itself. My child, this is where everything settles into its natural place. You are no longer moving from healing, from effort, or from reaction. You are moving from stillness. And stillness does not mean inactivity, it means clarity without strain. Life begins to feel less like something you must manage and more like something you participate in. You act when action is needed. You rest when rest is right. You speak when words matter. You remain silent when silence carries more truth. Nothing inside you is pushing. Nothing inside you is pulling. This is inner balance. You trust yourself to navigate what comes because you are no longer afraid of being overwhelmed by it. You have seen what awareness can do. You know that even if something unexpected arises, you will meet it with presence, not panic. This is quiet confidence. You no longer rush timing. You no longer force understanding. You no longer chase certainty. You allow life to unfold, and you stay awake within it. From this place, your energy becomes steady and clear. People feel it. Situations respond to it. Not because you demand anything, but because alignment has a way of organizing what surrounds it. And understand this gently: you have not lost anything by letting go. You have gained space. Space to breathe. Space to choose. Space to live without carrying what does not belong to you. This is not an ending that closes a door. It is a continuation that feels light enough to walk forward without effort. Remain here. Move as you are. Trust the steadiness that now defines you. You are no longer becoming. You are simply being. And that is where peace lives permanently. My child, this is the place where nothing more needs to be added. You are no longer seeking meaning, you are living inside it. What once felt like a journey now feels like a state of being. You wake, move, decide, and rest from a place that is honest and settled. There is no urgency to improve yourself. No pressure to prove growth. No need to revisit who you were. You respect who you've become by allowing it to be enough. This is where trust completes its work, not trust in outcomes, not trust in people, but trust in your own steadiness. You know that whatever life presents, you will meet it without abandoning yourself. And that knowledge stays. You may still grow. You may still change. But you will not lose your center while doing so. This is maturity without hardness. Strength without resistance. Awareness without weight. You are not holding on to peace anymore. Peace is holding you. Nothing is unresolved. Nothing is missing. Nothing is waiting to return. You are present in your own life, fully, quietly, and without fear. From here, you do not need guidance spoken loudly. You do not need signs wrapped in urgency. You do not need messages that push or pull. Truth now speaks to you through calm knowing. Rest here. Live here. Move forward from here. This is not the end of something important. This is the continuation of a life that finally belongs to you, steady, clear, and whole. My child, now you carry a strength that does not announce itself. It is not built on resistance. It is not sharpened by struggle. It is not defined by what you survived. It is the strength that comes from knowing you can remain yourself in any season. You no longer tense when uncertainty appears. You do not rush to control what has not yet taken shape. You allow life to approach you at its own pace, trusting that clarity will rise when it is needed, because it always has. This is soft strength. You are flexible without being fragile. Open without being exposed. Grounded without being rigid. Nothing needs to be defended inside you. Your values are clear. Your boundaries are quiet. Your direction is steady. This is how you move through the world now, without friction where there once was force. You may notice that you recover faster. Emotions pass through without lingering. Disappointments do not take residence. Joy arrives without suspicion. These are signs of resilience rooted in acceptance. You are no longer bracing for impact. You are meeting life as it comes. And here is the truth that settles fully now: you do not need to be on guard to be safe. Awareness has already done its work. Continue forward with this softness. Let kindness be measured. Let honesty be simple. Let effort be intentional. There is nothing to prove. Nothing to outrun. Nothing to resolve again. You are living from a place that holds, steady enough to move, open enough to feel, and strong enough to remain at peace. This is how life unfolds when you trust what is already true within you. My child, now you understand that peace is not a destination you arrive at and stay behind. It is something that moves with you, into decisions, conversations, changes, and even uncertainty. You do not lose yourself when circumstances shift. You do not disappear when roles change. You do not shrink when others do not understand you. You remain present. This is the difference now. Earlier, peace depended on things staying the same. Now, peace comes from knowing you can adapt without breaking your connection to yourself. You may step into new environments. You may meet new people. You may face moments you could not have imagined before. And still, you will recognize yourself inside them. You are no longer afraid of being affected, because you know how to return to your center. You know when to pause. You know when to step back. You know when to step forward with clarity. This is self-trust in motion. Nothing pulls you out of alignment easily anymore. Even when emotions rise, they settle quickly because they are not fighting against resistance. You allow them, learn from them, and let them pass. This is emotional freedom at work. You are not protecting peace by avoiding life. You are carrying peace into life. And that is why it stays. Walk forward knowing this: you are not starting over. You are continuing from a place of wholeness. Wherever you go next, you go as yourself, clear, steady, and unburdened. This is not something that can be taken from you. It is something you have become. My child, now the final separation dissolves, the separation between who you are inside and how you live outside. There was a time when you felt split. One part of you understood, another part carried weight. One part wanted peace, another stayed alert. That division is no longer present. You are whole in your movement, your choices, your presence. This is integration. You no longer act one way while feeling another. You no longer say yes while meaning no. You no longer silence yourself to maintain comfort. Your inner truth and your outer life are aligned. Because of this, effort decreases. You are not managing yourself anymore. You are not negotiating with old fears. You simply respond from what feels honest in the moment. This creates ease, not because life has no challenges, but because you are not fighting yourself while meeting them. You trust your pace. You honor your limits. You move when it is right and pause when it is wise. There is no guilt in rest. There is no fear in progress. There is no confusion in stillness. This is self-respect embodied. And here is the quiet realization that settles now: you do not need to return to this clarity again. You are living from it. Whatever unfolds next will meet a person who is undivided, present, grounded, and whole. You will not abandon yourself to meet expectations. You will not fracture to fit into old spaces. You belong where you stand now. Remain aligned. Remain honest. Remain steady. This is not a moment you might lose. This is a state you have grown into. And from here, life does not pull you forward, you walk into it, fully intact. My child, this is where the journey completes, not by ending, but by becoming natural. You are no longer doing the work of awareness. You are living as the result of it. Nothing feels forced anymore. You wake up as yourself. You move through the day without adjusting your inner truth to match the moment. There is no performance, no inner correction, no quiet exhaustion from holding things together. You are whole, and wholeness is effortless. You respond to life instead of preparing for it. You trust your timing instead of rushing it. You allow joy without questioning how long it will last. You meet difficulty without assuming it will define you. This is emotional adulthood. You are not guarded. You are not naive. You are simply clear. From this place, your life gains a steady rhythm. You recognize what belongs to you and what does not. You carry responsibility without burden. You care without losing yourself. You love without abandoning your center. Nothing inside you is split. Nothing inside you is waiting. Nothing inside you is unfinished. You are not searching for meaning, you are expressing it through how you live. And this is the final truth: what you have reached does not fade, because it is not a feeling. It is a way of being. Even when moods change, even when circumstances shift, this foundation remains. You are grounded. You are aligned. You are at peace with yourself. From here, life is no longer something to resolve. It is something to experience, fully, honestly, and without fear. This is not a conclusion written in words. It is a life now lived in truth. My child, now you walk forward without needing to define where you are going. There was a time when certainty felt necessary, when you needed plans, signs, or reassurance that you were on the right path. That need has softened. Not because you stopped caring, but because you trust your ability to adjust as life unfolds. You no longer need a map. You have orientation. You know what alignment feels like in your body. You recognize when something is true for you. You sense when it is time to move, and when it is time to wait. This is not intuition as mystery. This is intuition as familiarity. You do not rush toward the future, and you do not cling to the present. You meet each moment as it comes, knowing that you will respond from clarity, not fear, not habit, not pressure. This creates a different kind of confidence. One that is quiet. One that does not compare. One that does not compete. You are no longer measuring progress by milestones others recognize. You measure it by how peaceful you remain while moving through change. And that peace stays with you, even when things are uncertain. This is how life opens naturally. Opportunities feel lighter. Decisions feel cleaner. Letting go feels honest instead of painful. You are not drifting. You are allowing direction to reveal itself step by step. Remain present. Remain responsive. Remain grounded in what feels true. There is no rush to arrive anywhere. You are already living from the place you once hoped to reach. And from here, whatever path unfolds will meet you, steady, awake, and fully yourself. This is how the journey continues when you no longer need to name it.